Hello and welcome to Springboard, your virtual university. My name is Albert Okran, welcoming you on behalf of Team Springboard. This is your most inspirational show and that place where the greatest minds in the world converge. Springboard is brought to you by the Springboard Roadshow Foundation and proudly sponsored by the Enterprise Group and MTN Ghana with media support from the Multimedia Group and the Graphic Business. Today, let me take you back to our series on Time with a CEO, where I get to unpack the thoughts of a leader in the marketplace, find out what they eat, how they sleep, what they manage, and the sheer significance of what they oversee as big-time corporate leaders. One of our biggest partners over the years is the Enterprise Group, and this week they launched 100 years in their journey as a company. Yes, 100 years in business. And so I get the tremendous privilege of hanging out with the group CEO, Dan Larbi-Tieku. Dan, good to see you.
Thank you very much.
100 years in business, that must be phenomenal. How does it feel?
Thank you, Albert. I think counting the days up to today has been a combination of mixed emotions. Mixed emotions in the sense that others have, brought us this far. And we now have to take it into the next century if we continue to live. How we do that is where we need to draw some inspiration from what has happened in the past. So I said mixed emotion because you then ask yourself whether you will be able to carry this business and deliver the same results that have been delivered over the past 100 years. But of course, that's the responsibility that we have accepted and we would uphold, and hopefully by the grace of God we should be able to meet the challenges and the expectations of all stakeholders.
Naturally, I hear that when you are being interviewed for a CEO job in a country like Japan, they ask you your plan for 100 years. They tend to be the Asians, the Japanese, the people of Singapore, the Chinese tend to have a longer span. When they say long term, they mean long term. In our part of the world, it's rare to find an entity becoming 100-year company. Walking in today, I saw staff waving their balloons, releasing them into the air, general sense of excitement. But for you as team lead, does it put added pressure on you? Do you sleep at night?
I try to work as much as possible when I'm in the office. When I leave the office, I do my best to leave the worries of the office behind me. So I try to sleep at night. But of course, you come back into the issues and you have to, deal with the issues. So that's basically what's been going on, around me, sitting in the seat as the CEO.
Let's go at the dance between the various stakeholders. So for what you do in the financial services industry, you will have probably let's start with your shareholders and then the government, your regulators, the staff, and then the community, everyone looking up to you, expecting something from you. Navigating all these stakeholders whose interests at some times may even seem to contrast, what does it require of a group CEO?
I think it's one of the biggest challenges that anyone would face, especially in this seat. The expectations are so wide and broad. But I think we need to understand that individual stakeholders would have differing expectations. And your job is to try and synchronize the expectations and see how best you're able to at least meet these expectations. You might not be able to meet all the expectations, but to the best of your ability, if you can make almost all the stakeholders happy, I think your job would have been done. But the biggest challenge for me, especially working as the CEO for Enterprise Group, apart from meeting the expectations of stakeholders, is also managing the complexities of the group.
Help us to understand it.
Yes, the group has about 6 different entities with different focus. Enterprise Group is primarily insurance, but the focus are different. We have a life insurance business. We also have a general insurance business. We have a pensions business. We have transition that we know, the funeral people. We also have a property business. So all these businesses have different focus, different ways of doing business, different ways of going to the market. And because they all come under the same group, sometimes they are constrained by how they want to go out there as individual entities. And so there are occasions where you have issues of conflict, of delivery, issues of managing the commonalities that one expects from the group. But in all this, we have to ensure that the supreme interest of the group is what prevails. So yes, there are times where you have 2 entities, rubbing shoulders, the rivalry, which I call healthy rivalry.
Even within the group?
Yes, even within the group, it exists. And then that is what we also have to manage.
I heard someone say that it's actually a strategy to create some level of rivalry between divisional heads in the business. Is it true?
It is true. It is true, and it has to be done in such a way that you unearth the best out of the entity. So there are times that we consciously run something like a league kind of structure to see who comes out on top on different aspects of business operations.
Which means that there can be relegation. Now, has 2023 been? I mean, it's a year everybody's talking about, but from where you sit as Group CEO, how has 2023 been?
2023, on the back of COVID that we went through, then we entered 2023 with all the geopolitical disturbances in the global economy. I think this had some impact on our economy as well. And therefore, you could see some contraction in our economic activities back here in Ghana. This also had some impact on us as a business. If you recall, the country had to embark on a DDP restructuring process.
That's the domestic net exchange.
Yes, we had the impact on 2 fronts, fortunately. The first being the impact on our customers. The impact on our customers so much because we rely on disposable incomes. And the outcome of the DDP restructuring impacted on consumers.
Free cash flow.
Yes, disposable incomes. So the ability to also honor their obligations to us was impacted somehow. So we could feel and we could see a bit of slowdown in our revenue generation. The other side is the bigger impact on corporates. Lower returns, liquidity impact, which also then go to impact on your ability to meet the expectation of your customers on you. We are an insurance entity, and we make commitment to honor our obligation when there's when it becomes But if you are constrained by liquidity because your cash is locked up elsewhere, then it becomes a Herculean tax to someone. But I think it's in all this, it's been quite well managed. I would say it has also brought a different dimension in the way business is also perceived and conducted in this part of the world. Hitherto, I'm sure we all were very satisfied and we're convinced that government securities is the most safest area So I think that's where we all, diverted or moved our funds into. But I think this period has taught us that there are other areas that one can possibly explore, in diversifying the investment portfolio that you have. So it's, in as much as it's been a challenge, it's also been a blessing, to open our eyes to areas that ordinarily one would not have considered as a good investment opportunity. Yes.
This is Springboard, your virtual university. My guest, Daniel Larbi-Tieku, Group CEO of the Enterprise Group, and he packs over 30 years experience in finance, corporate strategy, risk management, audit control, regulatory compliance, and a very deep appreciation of insurance underwriting and everything in between. And he is now telling me that the recent developments have given him a certain perspective he didn't have before. Dan, I was at Gimpers graduation as guest of honor in the course of last week. And I spoke about reinvention, trying to bring to the minds of the young graduates the fact that, listen, you will learn the thing in school, but when the rubber hits the road in real life, some things can teach you more than the whole syllabus. Would you say that the same thing about what you just said? That some of the learnings in management have literally almost like packed what you learned in school?
That's correct. That's correct. What we learn in school gives you the foundation.
Right.
And it also attempts to explain, or give you a better understanding of some of the decisions that we take. But when the rubber hits the road, is the learnings from school will give way to realities that we need to grapple with. So yeah, the learning from school sometimes helps. It helps. It gives you the foundation, as I said. But in the real world, it's a totally different. It's a totally different game. I think so. Yeah.
So for those who assume that because they have a first class from the university or they've learned what you call the theoretical framework or the foundation, they should be fine for the rest of their careers, what's likely to happen to them?
I think that's the biggest caution that I probably would carry to my young guys, some of the young guys coming out of the university, some with first class, second upper, and the likes. The qualification alone, the degrees that we carry with us when we leave the universities alone, will not be enough to propel you into the heights that one wants to really attain. It calls for a totally different change of mindset, commitment to what you do, understanding the environment within which you operate, and be a bit more humble in learning also from others. So first class, upper, and stuff alone are not enough to guarantee the kind of success that some of these young guys, want to see in their lives. So yes, it is good to be hardworking and good to earn the first class, but on the job, I think we need to apply our minds. In fact, we need to apply the learnings from school, in a more aggressive, more committed way to unearth the quality that,
When you sit in an interview panel and candidates come through looking for appointments, promotion in the group, what do you normally look out for?
The world is changing so fast that you want leaders who ordinarily can think immediately outside the box. So that is, for me, the first thing I challenge students who, come in front of me or in a panel looking for jobs. How do you convince me that you have that capability or ability to think outside the box? It's also crucial because the world is changing so fast, and you need people who can keep up with the pace of change. So that's the first thing. Then you also want to see people who are not so self-centered. They can be part of a team and help develop a team, because you can't do it all by yourself. You need people around you. You need, the team to to stick together and deliver on the set target. So apart from the first point I mentioned, which is your ability to think outside the box, your ability to fit into a team and support the team in delivering on its goals is also very, very, very important.
If you're listening today and you plan to apply for a job in the enterprise group, these are the things you should be looking out for. One is critical thinking, and two, the humility to be part of a team. That means that don't come thinking that you're the one with the solution to all the global warming problems and all the issues in the world. So Dan, what is the one thing that when you see, and this is deep filler, what's the one thing that when you see, you literally say, no way?
I thrive on ethics, and that is what has probably one of the things that has brought me this far. So if there are indications that I cannot trust you on ethical values, I don't think it's also crucial in our kind of job that we do. We engage and relate with so many, over 1,600 customers on our books. And we engage with our customers, on a daily basis. So it's important that we have the right attitude, the right mentality, and everything about ethical, moral values to engage with our customers.
I read a research of 500 of the top CEOs in the world based on net worth and so on, the people that you would talk about, the Bill Gates, Warren Buffett. And they were being asked, what would you look for in the person that you should hire? And I'm sure everybody was looking for profitability. And by far, integrity was the runaway leader. And you just confirmed that for you, especially in the financial services sector, trust and ethics are the area that if you violate, it's a no-no for you. Now let's talk about your personal leadership style. What kind of leader are you? I think I have an idea, but I'll ask you. If you see what I know, I'll say I got it right.
I operate an open door. I like people to feel so relaxed and be able to express themselves whilst working with me. So it's always been my style to draw people closer to me, and I want to be part of the team. I don't sit here on daily basis all alone, thinking through the issues. I do that together with my team, and that's the biggest plus that I think my team members enjoy from me.
What was the advantage of it?
When you do that, then they feel that the decision making, the solutions are more driven out of the team and not just one person sitting somewhere and taking the decisions and driving the team to deliver. They feel a part of it. And that is what I think I've done so well in the past to get us this far.
Would you say that was one of the things that propelled you in your upward journey to become CEO?
I think it will be down to 2-3 key things that personally I would assign to myself. Commitment and passion to what I do.
Sometimes I was waiting for that one.
Sometimes people tell me I am too serious on the job, and others also say I don't smile very often when I'm on the job. It's just the passion to deliver. I just want to see results. So I think that is these are the two things that probably may have brought me, And I think that one thing that also the younger generation should pick as they move up the ladder is to broaden your scope, not to be too narrow, minded, just focusing on your area of operation. Broaden your scope, go beyond your confines. So if you're a salesperson, get to know a little bit about marketing, about technical, issues, and that's what I've done so well. I'm not an insurance person. I joined Enterprise Group from the Coca-Cola bottling company. We are just bottling Coke. But I joined the insurance company and I immersed myself into insurance, and I could stand toe to toe with the technical people in the insurance space. So I think it's also one of the key areas that my bosses probably identified in me, that you're an all-round person. You can talk insurance, you can talk marketing, you can talk sales, you can talk finance. And I think that has always been very helpful.
I hear the CEO is the de facto head of every single department in the company. So you need to have at least an idea about what is going on when you're reading the reports of the various heads of departments and divisions. Not too long ago, somebody in your primary field, that is a chartered accountant, went for an interview for a chartered accountant job and was expecting questions about balance sheet, P&L, and it didn't come up even once. He was so upset. Capacity of Accra Sports Stadium. He says, I know what is I mean, the person was asked questions about sports, politics, human relations, and he came out of the interview very upset that didn't they say it was chartered accountant, it was head of finance and accounts. How did he ask me about Accra Sports Stadium and leadership? He was very upset. Was he right?
You see, that's why I said earlier, you just have to move, broaden your mindset and your thinking, and you can only do that if you move into other areas. In school, we used to say you should read widely. What it means is that not just what you do, but other areas that would come in to support your decision making. And so I see why the guy will be upset, but I think it was a wrong assumption to think that as a finance person, questions should come around, finance. In most cases in enterprise, I think the technical area will take just about 20% of the whole interview process.
Wow.
Yes, about 20%. The rest will be more behavioral, your extracurricular activity.
All right.
All these things come into play. Your psychometric, outcomes from the test that you. So we are quite broad in terms of scope. What we before we take people on.
So let me stay with your earlier description of yourself as a very passionate, intense person. I ask your wife during the break. But let me take off from there. Are you a person who likes sports?
Sports. I've been very active. I was very, very active in sports. I've been a sports person.
Which game do you play?
Let me. It depends on which year of my career we are talking about. So back in secondary school, those days they would say field events, and right. So I used to be a field events person, javelin, shot put, and we discussed. These were the three key things that I got myself.
But the three also are the things that require a very intense person.
Yes. And I used to play football. In fact,
were you a defender?
Yes,
were you a defender?
I was a defender.
I was a defender. This one is it's almost like revelation.
Yes. Yeah. So I'm very, very active in sports until recently, where I've had some issues with my shoulder. So I used to play tennis.
Shoulder must be tennis.
Yes.
I play tennis too. Maybe let's take a day and play. We'll play gently on a clay court.
Tennis is so intense that you can't do a gentle. If you really want to enjoy the game, with all the swings and it would be very difficult to play a gentle tennis. So I used to laugh at my friends who play golf. That you just hit one and you walk 2 miles, and tennis is really the where the intensity is.
It's my favorite sport, actually, the one that I play very well. Let's go for a break, Dan. Allow you to drink some water and think through your thoughts as we feast on some of the interesting dimensions of thought you've been sharing so far. So this is Springboard, your virtual university, and today is Time with a CEO. And on duty today is the Group CEO of the Enterprise Group, Daniel Larbi-Tieku, helping us to even understand what they look out for in raising leaders in this place. Dan says what you learn on campus to get your first class is great, but it's a foundation. You need to build on it. And don't stay with your accounting alone. Disperse yourself over other areas so that when you are being asked questions about Accra's procedure, you say, oh, you won't be upset. So let's go for a break. When we come back, let's explore Dan's journey. What does it take to become CEO? Where did he start from? And in the course of the journey, what big learnings did he find out that could be useful to somebody who's young and says, one day, me too, I want to be CEO? Please don't go away.
Agriculture is for everyone. And I dream of the day that everyone will have an agriculture, vocational, or technical story to share. My name is Araba Kumsin, and I welcome you to Ghana Grows Ejuma.
Ghana Grows Ejuma. Coming soon on radio, TV, and online.
Well, now that we're all here, I want to start by saying what a difficult year it has been for all of us. But then there's also a lot to be grateful for. You know, like when I bumped my car into a taxi right at our junction, and the insurance company paid my claims the very same day.
And remember the surprise cash bonus we received for our funeral finance plan? That is what sponsored our trip to the beach.
And the song we sang all the way to Pram Pram. I'm also grateful that every passing year brings me closer to enjoying the retirement benefits I have contributed so much to, and how since I started working from home after the COVID pandemic, I've been taking better care of myself. Even my doctor can attest to that.
Speaking of that, I'm very grateful to the team at Transitions for giving Grandpa a befitting send-off.
Well, on a happier note, I am grateful to have found an affordable office space to rent at Advantage Place.
Enterprise, your advantage.
Pascal is showing his boss the efficient new technology they've installed. She is pleased, but now she's asking, why is that still there? Pascal explains that he hired a security guard to protect the data shed. The boss is not so pleased anymore. If you haven't upgraded to cloud storage yet, it's time to get business done better with MTN Business.
Welcome back to Springboard, your virtual university, and to this very interesting conversation with Daniel Larbi-Tieku, CEO of the Enterprise Group. Springboard is brought to you by the Springboard Ratio Foundation and proudly sponsored by the Enterprise Group and MTN Ghana with media support from the Multimedia Group and the Graphic Business. If you missed the first part, number one, critical thinking, and number two, that humility to be part of a team. Those are the two prescriptions of Daniel Larbi-Tieku for any young graduate that enters a serious progressive organization like Enterprise Group. So at least something for your notes while we navigate our way. These thoughts will be captured in the Graphic Communications Group platforms online, as well as the Springboard Group platforms and other platforms, including the Multimedia Group. So look out for them, and also online as we debate which of these thoughts is your favorite. Let me share with you the Enterprise Advantage tip before we continue. Today, we are focusing on regular policy reviews. So why is it important to regularly review your policies or insurance policies? And the answer is very simple. Life changes and your insurance needs will change. Regular policy reviews help ensure that your coverage aligns with your current situation. Maybe you insured earlier and things have changed. So the update is very important to adjust coverage, explore discounts, and make sure you're adequately protected. And that is your enterprise insurance tip for the day. Call Enterprise on 030-263-4777 for further information. Enterprise, your advantage. Dan Larbi-Tieku, what do you mean by enterprise, your advantage?
I think the mantra that Enterprise has adopted is the cradle to grave mantra. What it means is that right from birth till when you drop and you are lowered into the grave, we would stand by you from the first point to the last point. So standing by you would provide all the support that you need along the journey. So that is the advantage that you have being a partner or, yes, with Enterprise Group. So that's the advantage we bring to you.
I've seen that advantage at first hand in different ways, but today the one I mentioned will not be the one you may even be thinking of. I would mention this year having to bury 2 loved ones and transitions and the kind of support that they give. And you talk about cradle to grave, and I can tell you that in those moments of desperation when you've lost a loved one, it can be very disconcerting. And I've had a good experience, as it were. I mean, you can't talk about good in the midst of grief, but as much as it can support, I think that this year, the company in the group that has been a strong help is Transitions. So when you get to review the CEOs, please give generally a pat on the back for that one.
Thank you very much.
So in the league table, she'll move up. It's very interesting. You talk about a league table and all the leaders and then being evaluated.
That's true.
Do you find that for you yourselves as group CEO with the various MDs, is itself quite a tough task, because these seem to be like very, very strong personalities?
Yes, the various MDs are they're recognized, and they are I would say people in their own rights, and they deserve to be where they are. So they're not pushovers. So you can imagine managing the likes of Jackie, Akosia, Joe Ampofo.
Oh, of course. If I don't mention Biju, I'll be carried out of this seat. And of course, Jackie and Akosia. Yeah,
Yes,
these are all.
you also have Kojo Neneusu.
Right.
Recently, our newest baby, Acacia, the MD of Acacia,
Hey.
Dr. Amu.
Of course.
So you can just imagine, what I'm having to deal with. It's a very
On a
hectic,
daily basis.
On daily basis.
But I guess also the advantage will be that when very, very accomplished, competent people are handling the roles, it reduces your pressure as group CEO.
Exactly.
Wow.
That's it.
What should we expect from the Enterprise Group in 2024?
I think we are trying to change the script. In terms of product positioning, we are gradually moving away. I think our customers even expect us to do so. The days when generic products were just pushed out there and more or less take it or leave it, those days are gone. Customers are expecting tailor-made products, that suits their peculiarities. And that is what we are seeking to provide, our customers. So we're no more focusing on all those generic products. We are reaching out to our customers and defining their needs, and then coming up with products that meet their needs. If it so happens that one product will meet the need of one customer, that is what we are.
You can go that far?
That's how far we want to go to, satisfy our customers. Secondly, I think the way we engage with our customers is also changing, and it will change, especially in 2024. We're not only selling insurance. We want to get close to our customers and provide additional value to our customers. So you would see going forward, especially in 2024, we're going to be a lot more relational as against being transactional, with our customers. And what are we seeking to achieve? We are seeking to understand our customers, know what they like doing on daily basis, how we can partner with them to provide, those extra needs that they may have, not necessarily in insurance. Some customers require probably a little bit of health advice. Get them engaged in some exercise, but you only can know when you engage directly with our customers. So just look out in 2024. These are the kinds of, I don't need to divulge all the the strategies for 2024. But these two are so key that we would embark on come 2024.
Customized solutions and advisory. I'll tell you what, I read a research about, it was an Asia-based research on why people buy insurance, and 43% of them buy from a company or a provider that is they see as an advisor, somebody who's helping them to make the decision, somebody who's focusing on guiding them as they make those critical choices. So I think that you really are on the right track. Let's park the corporate aside a bit and then unlock the man behind the corporate. When do you feel at your happiest?
When I see my direct reports and my team members, really engaged and are happy doing what they do and they know best, then I'm so excited. Then I think that at least I'm making a bit of impact. I think that's my greatest, moment.
What time of day do you feel happiest?
The nature of our business would give you varying, moments of, but I think I would say towards the afternoon, when you've gone around, engaged, interacted with your staff, and have a better feel of how their day has gone and stuff like that. Then you come back to the office, reflect on what you pick out there, and probably that's when you...
Do you feel tense in the morning sometimes?
Not always. Not always. Sometimes I walk into the office, full of smiles. Sometimes, of course, naturally, there are issues that you need to deal with. So you walk into the office still with those issues in mind, how you find solutions and address the issues. So obviously, you walk into the office a bit tense.
Where do you escape when you are pressed, you are highly pressured? What is your escape route when you are under great pressure?
When I'm under increased pressure, my escape route is always just to laugh. I try to bury the pressure, beneath laughter. So sometimes when I'm laughing to people, I'm trying not to infect them with the pressure or get them, worry so much about issues that we may have. And so I hide behind, smiles and all that, but beneath
there's fire burning beneath.
Yes.
On easy lies the head that wears the crown. So if I asked your wife Rini to tell me what kind of person you are, what would she say?
She tells me I don't smile very often. I look too serious. Yes.
Are you calculating balance sheets? So when you
yeah, I'm sure that's what she will tell you, that I look too serious at times, not always.
Is that a road to accomplishment?
Not really. I try to separate business from, social activities. So there's a thin line. When I'm on the job and I'm focused, and I'm sure you see that seriousness in my face, but aside that, it's all cool. Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
Tell me, what about the children? What will they say about daddy?
Well, unfortunately, they are all, outside and don't live with us now.
I'll call them on the phone. Don't tell me.
Yes. But I think they still see a bit of my old self in me, a bit stern on them, but for a good cause, which I think they cherish.
My late father was a naval officer. My uncle was an army general. My grandfather was a police commissioner. And my mother was a head teacher. Telling me you're in the same boat. I'm telling you. So somehow a bit intense.
Yes. I also lived in the barracks all my life. So a few of my friends tell me I'm a bit regimented,
The barracks life.
Yes, but
let's talk about faith. Faith. What role does faith play? Your personal faith. What role does it play in shaping your thoughts and your outlook on life?
I think that I've always believed that God has a hand in anything that I do, and I don't take that for granted, So day in and day out, I give reverence to the Almighty God, which is what I would encourage everyone aspiring to move up, to understand that it is only by the grace of God that we get to where we are. So that is my guiding principle.
I wrote an exam when I was in my MBA that I know I didn't get an A. So when I got an A, I said this one like this. No, this one. Have you ever been in a position before where you got a result and you say this one, there's no way, it just has to be the grace of God? Have you ever experienced it?
The reverse, rather, that you pick your results and you are not convinced that this is your result. You rather expect something better than you had. But
tell me how you dealt with that.
Yeah, I think initially it would set you step back.
What level was it? Was it university level, secondary level?
This is university first year. And this is the year that, in Komoto, you're all over the place.
So you're also in Komoto?
Yes, I was in Komoto.
Wow.
You're all over the
Which
place.
block?
Komoto J block.
Okay, I was in
J15.
E block and then F block.
Okay.
E15, yeah.
J15 and then later on to J24.
F25.
Okay.
All right.
So you're jumping all over the place, a village man coming into the university, so happy, excited to, and so you're a bit, surprised when the results come out. You're forgetting that you probably, took a lot more time or, doing other things than getting onto your books.
At that time, you went very intense.
But thereafter, I think we picked up and then we got to where we wanted to.
Tell me about Village Boy. I once heard Dr. Ishmael Jamson talk about the fact that when he was coming to his interview as CEO of Unilever, he actually came from his village with sweat on his white shirt, with dusty brown on his white shirt. He said, Charlie, he had made the thing. And he stood in the interview and told them that in 20 years' time, he'll be head of the organization. And he became. Tell me about the Village Boy part of your life. Step back even more years, the beginnings.
Yes. I said to you, my dad was a policeman, and he kept moving from one police post to the other. For that reason, he didn't want me and my siblings to follow, and because we kept changing schools every now and then. So we were handed over to my grandmom in the village somewhere in Asamankese. It's called Otopase. Otopase is a small village.
Wow.
And I remember one day I took my kids to my school. They looked at the school, looked at the setting, and the girl asked me,
Did you really go here?
Did you sit on this chair? Yes. Yes. So that kind of...
Was this Saito?
It's a Saito, proper Saito. Those days, the LA schools. Yes.
Whenever I interview, we'll go back to them. Whenever I interview a Saito person who has become CEO, and I ask them, Charlie, today, I think I, Professor Dolphine, Alex Banfo, even Dr. Yamson, yourself, quite a number of them, I asked them, can a Saito person today become CEO? I don't know the answer, but it's a question I often keep asking. You think it's a crazy question?
I think it's down to just commitment and persevere. You never see failure as an option. So you continue to work hard, and then the sky is the limit. So you certainly would.
So Otopase person can become CEO.
Yes.
Okay, tell me about Otopase.
I said Otopase is a small village. After Samankese heading towards Kede. It's just by the roadside. I'm not sure the population will be more than 200. Yes, so that's the. Those days we didn't have any piped water, not even the borehole. So we used to go to the riverside, fetch water, early in the morning, get ready to school. I remember Thursdays you had to go to the market, with foodstuff, go sell, come back before we go to school. And then going to school, we have to carry our lunch, plantain, tomato, whatever, you need to prepare your lunch, carry with us to the school. So during our lunch break, we'll now quickly go prepare lunch, have lunch. And then, we had two streams, morning session and the afternoon session in our days. Yes, so in between you can have your lunch and then we'll come back. But we carried all this every single day, Monday to Friday. Your food stuff, your cooking pot, your cooking utensil, everything we carried with us to school, yes. Yes.
So from Otopase, where do you go?
So from Otopase, then I continued to another village in the central region. This is somewhere around Continency. But the name of the village is called Kurakesi. Yes, this is my father's village.
Okay.
It's in the central region, Kurakesi. So this is like class 3, class 4, thereabout, And it's the same old story, I remember those days, a son of a policeman, but strangely we were perceived as, the elite in the, Yes. So I think me and my brother were the only, pupils then that probably had something like a sandals, those days, yes.
Professor Stephen Adai told the same story you're telling about his experience.
Yes.
And he says, because nobody wore sandals, he didn't even see that you had a disadvantage because nobody wore it anyway, apart from the policeman's children. So you are the elite. Okay. Yeah. So tell me about Kurakesi, transition from Otopase to Kurakesi, and then where next?
So from Kurakesi, this is still in the primary school, and then moved on, now getting closer to the city. And then I ended up somewhere around Accra, Newtown. It's still a Presbyterian primary school, Kotobabi, somewhere in Kotobabi. So that was my first taste of life in the city. And that's where we then continued from, Kotobabi, then back to Police Depot. Then my father had been transferred to Police Depot, which is closer to my school. So we then moved and joined my parents, And so from there, we just surged on, and I sat for the common entrance, and then I passed. And I started my secondary school education. I was actually enrolled at Winneba Secondary School. But my father had the suspicion that he may be transferred again and I'll be left all by myself, somewhere that I won't have any family member close to me. So he arranged for my uncle to transfer me from Winneba Secondary School to Nifa Secondary School in my hometown, Ediku.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
There's Benkum and there's Nifa.
Yeah, there's Benkum, there's Nifa.
Yeah.
Benkum is in Latte.
Yes.
And Nifa in Eduku.
Correct.
So that is where I actually, continued and finished my O-level, education at Nifa Secondary School. So I'm proud of Nifa Secondary School.
It's an interesting journey that you tell. Let me go back to something that you mentioned just in passing, especially the part about having to sell things when you were in secondary school. I recall my days, it was from 2:30 or from 3:30. I went to my grandmother's village. I'll go in the eastern region, and I learned how to weave baskets and sell them and retain the income and build the income until I had enough savings to be able to buy the things I didn't have that I needed. I have a feeling that is where I cut my teeth in sales. Would you say that the experience selling even at that age later on became valuable in your career?
Yes, certainly. It didn't even end with my youthful. It carried on to even when I was in secondary school.
You're still selling?
On vacation, I was still selling. I remember my mom used to sell plantain and cassava, fresh, and so she used to, this head pan, and they will carry it from Police Depot, cross the street into Alajo, and to the Mamobi, Kotobabi areas, all selling plantain. And so I think it's gotten into me that desire to,
to sell, to offer solutions.
And I think that has also created that commercial awareness in me as well.
When you mentioned that when you see people in an interview, ask them about their extracurricular activities, their exposure. I can imagine somebody walking for a sales interview and telling you that they sold plantain before carried plantain. Could that end up being an advantage?
It has, because it opened me to really appreciate the realities in life. Okay, so, and it's also giving me the foundation to go about life in a modest, in a modest way.
No show
Because I
plenty.
know where
God brought you from.
how far I have come. And then it also allows me then to appreciate every human being that comes into contact with me.
If you didn't do insurance, what would you do?
Actually, I wanted to be a teacher. I think because of my nature, I was more passionate talking to people, listening to people, engage myself with, conversations and stuff. So I think teaching was more something I wanted to do. And I'll tell you one story. When I finished my A level, all I had in mind just come out of university and teach. So in filling for my university, program, I think I chose geography, economics, or political, something like that, And so when I went to the registry to complete the registration process, the lady asked me, gentlemen, with these results, why did you choose this subject? Why wouldn't you opt for law or accounting? None of this had even come
crossed
into
your mind.
No. So I reflected, came back, spoke to a few friends, and the following day, nowadays, it wasn't as difficult.
I know. You went to change it.
So I just went the following day, and I told the lady I want to change it. And she changed it for me. And that's this beginning of my accounting career.
May the Lord bless that woman.
Yes, thank you.
Interesting conversation that I've had with Dan Larbi-Tieku. We could talk all day and I'll still have questions to ask you. But tomorrow is Christmas. And I'm sure that you would like to wish a Merry Christmas to the people that are dear to your heart and the people who have also sojourned with you in this journey throughout this year. This very interesting year called 2023. So Dan, look in this camera and wish a Merry Christmas to as many people as you're going to.
Thank you very much. As we approach Christmas, Christmas is a festive period. I'd like to wish every one of you a Merry Christmas, especially my wife and kids, also my team members in the enterprise group, all our partners, our stakeholders. I wish you all a very happy and prosperous new year as well. May the good Lord continue to bless us all, and we hope to, meet on the 1st of January.
Cross over into a good year.
Yes.
I'm very primed for the 31st night. It's a big day, for me in my other life as a pastor. It's a very, very big day. You just thank God for the year that has gone by, and then trust Him for guidance for the year ahead.
Thank you very much.
What's the one thing you are most grateful to God for, Dan?
Certainly the gift of life. I mean, we can't take it for granted. You go to bed and you wake up in the morning and you say, thank you, God,
For life.
Others didn't make it and you have made it. So
that indeed is the greatest gift of all. A big thank you to you, Dan Larbi-Tieku, Group CEO of the Enterprise Group, for spending this hour with us. It's been very instructive, very humbling. That's the word I'll use. Very humbling, seeing how far God has brought you. And now I understand your outlook on life. Not just the intensity, but the humility and the willingness to pull other people up. It comes from where the Lord brought you from. And may the same God who has brought you this far continue to watch over you.
thank you very much.
May you have a beautiful 2024. And also, of course, I add my best wishes for your family at Christmas.
Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you all very much for joining us, not just for today, but the whole year here on Springboard, your virtual university. And on this edition that marks Christmas Day, we want to say a big Merry Christmas to all our cherished platform stakeholders, Enterprise Group for being our sponsor, MTN Ghana for being with us for the past 15 years plus, want to say a big thank you to the Graphic Communications Group, as well as the Multimedia Group, for amplifying the thoughts that are shared on this platform, on your various platforms, and of course, to the Springboard Roadshow Foundation family for making this possible every single week. And the biggest one to all of you out there who join us every single week in the virtual university. Somebody said to me that by 5 o'clock, I start bathing and dressing up because it's virtual university. We appreciate your custom and your contribution to making this the place to be every single week. Join us online as we debate the thoughts shared by Daniel Larbi-Tieku and find out how you can start from a village community and become a group CEO of one of the biggest companies in this country. So we meet again for the final edition of the year next week. My name is Albert Okran, on behalf of Team Springboard, saying God bless you, and God bless you.
He's a rich and around. Whoa, whoa.